Okay, quick little thing I just found out, guys. Piranha Plant character is live in Smash Brothers now. If you haven't redeemed your Nintendo points, I put a Twitter post up today saying how to do that. I'll put link actually to the Twitter post down below. So if you have a physical copy of Smash Brothers, you do have to redeem your Nintendo points to be able to get that, and you have to do it by the 31st. If you try to do it later after the 31st, you're going to miss out. GameStop, GameStop, GameStop. What are you guys doing? Like, this is like a good portion of this is because you guys don't listen, and I think that's what bothers everybody. It's little nitpicky things. Guys, this is going to be coming from a perspective of a consumer and somebody who used to work at GameStop. And then my problem with working when I worked for GameStop was that I always had to deal with corporate, and I always had really idiotic ways of dealing with things. Why, I don't know. I don't have any good answers for you. Matters of fact, I don't understand that store still to this day. Like, when I was working there, the computer system seemed like slow and took like an hour and a half to reboot after it would crash. So I don't really know why it's still bad there or why it's been bad. This just comes off to me as people that were used to using gaming as a way to print money and not giving an actual crap about actually trying to make the store good or presentable. There's a lot of things that bug me about GameStop. Number one, I'll tell you right now, and one I have to deal with often, the only place for me locally to go and buy games, because they're such a big corporation, they've chased everybody else off. There used to be a place a couple years ago that would do local used games, and even they couldn't compete with GameStop. So what I'm talking about is when you go into a store. Okay, now my personal stance on GameStop is I don't buy used games anymore. I really don't like to, because many reasons. One, I don't think it's worth $5 less to get a booger encrusted copy of Smash or whatever when I could just spend $5 more to get a new copy. Number two is I would rather have a new copy on my shelf. That's just me. I would rather give that money to the developer instead of GameStop, because I don't think GameStop's necessarily doing a good job, and I don't think they've really earned my money. Honestly, the way I see it, those used copies shouldn't even be $5 less. They should I'd start thinking about maybe at $10 less. And while we're on the subject of used games, let's talk about how they treat their used games. If you walk into a store and you want a copy of Smash Brothers new, okay, $60. Got it. That's what new games are, right? If you want, let's say, a decent copy of Super Smash Brothers, it's maybe a little bit dinged up or something, but still has the cover and everything, $55. Let's say the only copy of Smash Brothers they have is a loose cart, and they have one of their little crappy GameStop like cartridge things, like generic cartridge things with the sleeve and stuff in there. Guess what? $55. GameStop is the only place I've ever been that deals with used games and doesn't give you a discount on loose carts and stuff. Every place else, they grade the box. Like, if you have the box with it, they grade the box, they grade the instruction manual, they notice if you have things like for the NES, like the sleeve and all that, okay? Or if it's just a loose cart, and you get different varying amounts, and you spend different varying amounts on the condition of that game. Shouldn't be that hard to do, but for some reason GameStop can't do that. So not only is it bad enough that that's the situation in the store, but if you go look at this video today, I'm going to leave a link down below for Beat-em-Up's channel, where he actually ordered a crap ton of stuff from GameStop, and look at how much crap he got that didn't have the cover with the game, okay? This is one of my major problems with GameStop right here, is they don't care. They seemingly don't care about what product they're selling or what condition it gets to you. All they want is your money, and they want to part with your money, whether it's in good condition or not, and that bugs me. That's not the way it should be. Problem number two I have with GameStop, and this is a big one for me. They have all their games, both new and used, on the shelf for display. My problem with this with the new games is the fact that they open the game, they unwrap it, they break the seal, they open it, they take the cartridge out, throw it into a sleeve, and then decide to put it on display. Now, if that's the last copy of the game it is, and for somebody like me that likes to look for strange indie games every once in a while, it often is, guess what? They still sell it to you for full price. It's an open game. Now, here's the kicker. I worked for GameStop for over a year. We were encouraged to take those copies of games, sign them out. Now, I can understand it's for used games, but to build your knowledge and kind of one of the perks of the job is that you get to sign games out and take them home without paying for them. It's sort of like an internal rental thing or something that they do. We did that with the new games, guys. I remember when Ace Combat 6 came out with the flight stick and everything, we actually unboxed one of those to put it up on the shelf, and right that night, our manager took that copy home to play. And about 2 days later, we sold it as new. What kind of bullshit is that? You know, I wouldn't really have, I guess, a problem with this if that's what I was used to, but here's the problem I have. That's not what I'm used to. That's not what I grew up with. I remember walking into places like Kmart, and all the new games were like, especially for the Super Nintendo, it was sweet. Like, the Super Nintendo had like this rack where it was like, almost like you paid, it was like plastic sleeves that like the games would sit in, that people had to unlock, and you like flip through them. Like, that's the way that they sold Super Nintendo games, and Nintendo actually gave those to the stores. So you can't say you didn't have any place to put it, okay? And then I remember the way Toys R Us did it is they would actually have like a flap, or like a little flap with a sleeve below that had like the front of the box art and the back of the box art printed on it, so you could look at it. And then any copies that they had a little piece of paper slip inside of a sleeve, and you just take that up to the cash register. You pay for your game, and you go up to this like little window, and you get your game, okay? And there is no unopened and no opened copies in there like there is with GameStop. So nobody's fooling around with that. And then there was KB Toys, and KB Toys just had everything in a glass case behind them. Like, there was no reason to have anything open because you could clearly see it. It was there. It was just behind the cash register, and a big glass case there. Everybody could see it. And you just walk up to the cash register and be like, I want that one, and they just give you that one. So I don't see why GameStop couldn't do something like that. Matter of fact, I remember the store that I worked in, we did have new copies in a glass case, but for some reason we always had one up on the shelf that everybody could pick up and hold and stuff. So I don't get it. I really don't get it. So do I want to see GameStop go away as a corporation? Hell no, I don't. Especially in my area, because the next closest like actual store that would sell like, you know, on the same kind of level that sells Switch games and stuff is about an hour and a half away, and that would severely suck. But the corporation needs to change, and I really think, honestly, you know, nobody's wrong here. It's like digital distribution's taking over. It's really the end of days for them, and they need to change into a store that not only sells, like, they've been trying to basically turn their stores into ThinkGeek stores with a little bit of games, and it's like you can go in there and get like anything from like t-shirts to pop figures, and then like it seems like almost like the shelf space for games is actually getting less and less in there. And I feel like they would be in a better spot if they even tuned that down a little bit and start going back to retro and start actually giving a damn about what they're selling, and give a damn about the people that are trying to buy it from them, okay? Don't try to oversell like Super Mario Brothers for like $50 for the NES. Sell it for the appropriate like price that it's actually price guided at. And actually like have like nice little shelves with like N64s and stuff like that, and try to make some place that's comfortable for people that go into, that celebrates gaming. That's all you got to do, okay? It's not anything different that other stores, mom and pop stores, are doing, and people love to go into them. I know that some of them are closing, but from my experience here, my closest one is in Seattle. Is Pink Gorilla Games, is a great one I can think of, and people love to go into that store, and people love to shop in that store, and they get like little, you know, what you call them, plushies, and usually I always never see anybody in there that's not picking something up. But people love to go in there, and I've seen the people at work there just talking about video games and video game culture and stuff. And that's what you need. Instead of like me walking in, it's like, you got anything in for trade-in? No. Start talking to me like a human being that likes video games. And let's hang out, and maybe you can sell me something. You know? It's not that difficult, GameStop. But it's really not that difficult, and unfortunately, because I worked for this company, and I know, like, GameStop really does need to stop their current practices and move on to something else, but I know they won't. And I think we're looking at the end of days for GameStop. Like, I'd be really surprised if they make it past 2019. Honestly, maybe they can make it into like 2020, but I'd be really shocked. It's coming to an end, guys. Anyways, this is Cell. I'll be doing more videos throughout the week. I actually got a new TV for once, believe it or not. A 43-inch TCL. I actually replaced a decade-old TV. And, yeah, I'll probably do a video on that. But got other plans this week, too. We're going to be talking about some other things. And if you guys like to hear my thoughts, hit the subscribe button down below. Leave a comment, a like down below if you liked this. If you didn't, hit dislike. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.